This is the Louie Tee Network.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie Tee? Welcome to Lockdown Coverage, week number 15 in the National Football League. New England Patriots on the road taking on the Denver Broncos. Two old foes clashing, meeting once again. Seems like these two teams play each other each and every single year, at least once, sometimes twice, as the case was last season. Once in the regular season, once in the AFC Championship game. That won't be the case this year, as one of these two teams not going to make the playoffs this year. And we know who that is, as the New England Patriots have already clinched not only a playoff berth, but a first-round bye. Yet again, they've now won the AFC East. 8 years in a row? They dominate that division, probably have won it 15 times out of the last 13 or 12 seasons, if I had to guess. I mean, it's not often they don't win that division. So they're doing what they do. They're up to their normal tricks. And this was an eye-opening game for me because I fully expected Denver to win this game. And early on, when they were dominating Brady and he started the game 0 of 6 and he looked, disheveled and befuddled, I said, this is exactly what I expected. But what I could not account for were the Denver Bronco mistakes, drop passes, the interception in the red zone, and the lack of offensive production that has plagued this team down the stretch. Maybe I should have accounted for it. Maybe that team that lost to Tennessee only being able to muster 10 points is exactly who the Broncos are right now. And maybe that wasn't an outlier. Maybe that wasn't just a case of happenstance. Maybe that's who the Broncos are. A team that is inefficient and ineffective on the offensive side of the football, leaving a very good defense out to dry and vulnerable. They make mistakes on special teams. They don't capitalize on offense. They drop too many passes. They make too many mistakes. And the defense, which is a strength of this team still, they're not making the type of plays that we're accustomed to seeing them make. They're not forcing turnovers. They're not getting pick sixes. They're not forcing fumbles and scooping and scoring. They're not doing that anymore. And now that they're not creating, the offense is finding it that much tougher to drive the length of the field without making a mistake, without having a penalty, without having a drop pass, without getting a quarterback hurry or sack or deflected pass. And so now we're seeing the true Broncos identity on the offensive side of football, and it is not pretty. And give credit to the Patriots. They forced all of these things in this game. Before we jump into this breakdown, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Louie Tee Network for more great content. In 2016 and beyond, we're changing the game. I want you to help me do that by simply subscribing to the Louie Tee Network on YouTube. Also, I'm on Twitter. @InTheLabRoom is the Twitter handle. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter, as I am also on Facebook. In the Lab Room is the Facebook page. Go ahead and like the Facebook page. All of my social media platforms up above, scrolling in that center console. Be sure to go ahead and like, follow, and subscribe to the Louie Tee Network and all of my other social media platforms. So let's jump into this breakdown quickly because this was total domination on the part of the Patriots. They took care of business in this game, and I didn't think they would be able to do it the way that they did it. 16-3. Broncos just couldn't get it done, and it started early in this game when you're talking about Broncos mistakes. You have the fumble, the muff punt by Jordan Norwood, which set the table for the Patriots to get field goal there, start off the scoring in this game. And from there, it was all essentially the New England Patriots. They did allow the Broncos to tie the game up at 3. I thought the Broncos had a shot right there. Trevor Siemian takes them down the field. They're in a position to at least come away with a field goal, take the lead in this game. He throws an ill-advised pass on an outbreaking route. You can't make a mistake and miss inside on an outbreaking route. Really good coverage by Logan Ryan, but it's a poor throw by Trevor Siemian. And I really didn't think that was a great decision either. The receiver and the cornerback, were locked into some tight coverage. Very physical on the play. Logan Ryan really established some physicality early in that route. And so he won. And for Simeon to throw the football and then make a mistake to the inside, he was asking for trouble, and trouble he got as it was picked off, returned into Broncos territory, setting up Brady and company to take the lead, which they would not relinquish on the afternoon, taking full advantage of mistakes on the day. Deep ball to Demaryius Thomas dropped right through his arms. Good coverage, but he should have caught that football. Just too many mistakes on the day where you couldn't afford to make mistakes against a Patriots team that's one of the best in the league. You needed to play your best game, and they didn't bring their best to the table. Offensively, again, they're struggling, are the Denver Broncos. They just don't have it right now, and I can't really put my finger on as to why. They've never been a great running football team, so it's not like the running game all of a sudden abandoned them. They haven't been a great rushing team all season long. Do they miss C.J. Anderson? You're damn right they do, but I refuse to believe that they miss him this much to the point now, because he's been out for quite some time. It's not like, he just went out of the lineup 2 weeks ago and they started struggling since he's been out. He's been out for a while now, but this Broncos offense has been struggling. Even going back to the Jacksonville game when they won 20-10. Remember, that was a Bradley Roby pick six that put that game out of reach. They weren't dominating that game. And I know Paxton Lynch was in. It doesn't matter. Paxton Lynch, Trevor Siemian, this offense stinks right now. And this defense is playing their ass off. And yeah, they're not generating the turnovers that we're accustomed to seeing them generate, but it's no excuse. And let's talk about the Patriots, because they won this game. I thought it was a dominating performance by them. Brady didn't have his fastball today. And, he always struggles with this Denver Broncos defense because they're able to put pressure on him. Started the game 0 of 6, which was tied for the worst in his career. But he bounced back, made some impressive throws in some tight spaces. One on the sideline to Edelman. How in the hell he got that football in there is beyond me. Another throw where he had to drop it over a linebacker and right in between the safety, and he was able to do that. They ran the football effectively. A really good day on the ground for Dion Lewis. Good to see him back in the mix as he's continuing to find himself in that New England Patriots offense. Remember, coming off of the major knee surgery, he was a guy that was going to have to find a way to acclimate himself back into the offense. Well, they gave it to him 15 times or 18 times in this game, almost eclipsed 100 yards. He did yeoman-like work in this game. Offensively, the Patriots did just enough. The way the defense was playing, they were hitting. They were where they needed to be when they needed to be there in this football game. Didn't allow the big play, and that's huge for the Broncos because they don't have a matriculate the football down the field type of offense. They want to quick strike you. They want to hit Demaryius Thomas for 55. They want to hit Emmanuel Sanders for 70 and a touchdown. They want to hit you with the big plays because they don't have the discipline necessary offensively to go 13 plays, 78 yards, and cap it off with a touchdown. They need you to have a breakdown defensively that would allow them to get big chunks so that they can eat up a lot of grass without having to do it over and over again, because they don't sustain offense well. We've seen that over the last month or so, them struggling to put together drives. And so this Patriots defense dominated. I said all of that to say this. The Patriots defense dominated the Broncos in this game. They were the more physical team, which it's tough to even say when you're talking about the Denver Broncos. The Patriots defense was more physical in this game. Stopping the run, being physical with the receivers, hitting them as they try to corral the football. They were there to dislodge countless passes in this game. They beat the Broncos to the punch time and time again in this game defensively. This was not a sharp offensive performance from the Patriots, but we knew it wasn't going to be versus this Broncos defense, but they did what they had to do to win. And we say this all the time. I know it's cliche. Oh, it was a gritty win. This is exactly the definition of gritty right here. To go into Denver, it's cold in Denver, in Mile High, go in there, play stout defense, do enough on special teams, and get it done when you don't have your best offensive performance. You hold the Patriots to 16 points, you're supposed to beat the Patriots with 16 points. They scored 16 in this game. Most times when the Patriots score 16, they lose. But they only gave up 3 in this game, which is fascinating to me because defensively the Patriots don't scare anyone. But they were dominant in this game. And I think that may be more an indictment on the Denver Broncos offense than it is anything you can really hang your hat on offensive or defensively for the New England Patriots, we'll see. I'll tell you this much, though. I walked away from this game thoroughly impressed with New England because I didn't know they had this in them, to be honest with you. Okay, I've seen teams bust them in their mouth this season. I've seen them respond sometimes. Others haven't. You know, I saw Seattle go into their house and bust them in the mouth a couple weeks back on a Sunday night. Ran the football on them, did whatever they felt like doing. I didn't think they had this in them. You know, last week, Baltimore, they got them. They're dominating. They have a couple of snafus, and they let Baltimore come right back and really have a shot to steal their game. That wasn't the case this week. This was total domination, start to finish. Defense really got it done. Special teams chipped in. They got it done in this game. Brady didn't throw a touchdown pass. He only completed 50% of his passes. Didn't throw for over 200 yards. That's a recipe for disaster for the Patriots, unless the defense plays the way that they did in this game. You force a turnover or two. You play the defense the way you did. You're hitting guys. You're dislodging. You're stopping the run, and you're putting the onus on a young quarterback to go out and win and sling it 50 times. That's how you win football games on the road in this league, and that's what the Patriots did. It's tough. You know, for the Broncos, this loss stings. Honestly, because I look at the Broncos at 8-6. I don't like your shot to get in. I don't like your remaining schedule. I don't think you're good enough. And this is another reminder of why you're not good enough. You don't have enough offensive weaponry, firepower, the ability to score. You're not capable of scoring enough. This defense is still good enough to do damage if they were to get into the postseason. But this offense is not capable of hanging around with the better teams in the league. They're just not. You can beat the Jacksonville Jaguars or the Houston Texans. You can't beat the upper echelon teams in the AFC. So, really disappointed in the Broncos in this game. And this told me a lot. Now at 8-6, got a huge mountain to climb. Because not only do you have to win out, now you need massive amounts of help. You need the Dolphins to tank and struggle and self-destruct. You need the Baltimore Ravens to not end up with the same record as you. Because they have already, are the Ravens, I don't think those two teams played this year, but they have a better record in the conference than you do. So the Ravens are currently ahead of you. And I think there's one more team at 8-6 that is currently ahead of you as well in the AFC playoff picture. So it's a long uphill climb for the Denver Broncos. But you put yourself in this position with the football that you've been playing of late, losing to the Titans and now losing to the Patriots in back-to-back weeks. Jaleel says, will the Broncos miss the playoffs? Please say yes. Yes. The Broncos, I don't think they're going anywhere. Still a lot of time. They still got some games left to be played that can help them right the ship, but they're going to need help. And that's the worst position to be in this time of the year, is needing help, needing to have other teams do what you couldn't do, which is take care of your own business. Now you need other teams to take care of business for you, which will put you in a position to try to get in if you take care of your own business. So, tough spot to be in. I don't like the Broncos' chances after losing 2 straight. This is the time of the year where you can't afford losses. When you get to December into January, the losses need to be few and far between. You've had back-to-back weeks where you haven't been able to get it done. It's the wrong time of the season for you to be making these types of mistakes, blunders on special teams, and interceptions in the red zone costing you a scoring opportunity, and drop passes, and personal foul penalties late in the ball game that extends a drive that's over, that's going to allow your offense to get the football back. All of these things and more have the Broncos right now sitting at 8-6 on the outside looking in, looking like a team that's not going to get in. So, with that being said, that's going to do it for the New England Patriots and the Denver Broncos. Patriots dominate this game. This was impressive because I said 2 weeks ago when this stretch started, Ravens, Broncos, Jets, and Dolphins, I want to see how the Patriots shapeshift themselves week in and week out to figure out what they're going to do without Gronk and without Amendola down the stretch. And what have they done? They've morphed into 2 different teams in 2 separate weeks, and it's been good enough to win against 2 good football teams in the AFC conference. They're going to win next week against the Jets, and that's going to most likely set up a meaningless Week 17 matchup. They'll already have the number 1 seed most likely locked up by then because I don't think anybody else is going to get to 13 in this conference. So I think the New England Patriots have put themselves in a really good position to not have to risk Brady in Week 17 as they've had to do the last couple of seasons and get them banged up against an aggressive Dolphins defense that may be playing for their season. So we'll see what happens. They dominated this game. Dominated on defense, dominated on special teams. They get the win 16-3. As for the Broncos, not looking good. Another lackluster offensive performance cost them again. Special teams, not a big help or a factor in this game. Muffing a punt early, leading to Patriot points. This is a team struggling right now, and I don't know if they're going to be able to fix it in time to make the postseason. They drop to 8-6 and out of the playoffs. It's going to do it for your man Louie T here on Lockdown Coverage. If it happens in the National Football League, whether big or small, we cover it all here on the Louie Tee Network. More Week 15 coverage coming. Sunday Night Football overtime coming your way. You know what time it is. Cowboys, Bucks. Should be a dandy. I'll see you on the other side of that one. Enjoy the game. We'll break it down when it's all done. See you on the other side. Have a good one.